Magnus.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have some good jokes about Hillary and Bill.
Yeah.
That you saw that Trump won it from Hillary, and then you saw a message from
Monica.
no, from Bill Clinton to Monica. You up? In the middle of the night after the election, you know, you up. And then somebody also said, yeah, it must be hard for Hillary. She worked for 40 years and took everything from Bill Clinton and a working career, and she lost the presidency to somebody who picked it up as a hobby 6 months ago.
Yeah.
She's destroyed probably. Love's in the air.
No one's gonna come. No one's gonna come. Wait, I have something for that. You know, you have one of the meetings, you have pizza and beer, and the second meeting you have this one. Pizza and beer.
It's a good one. Shall we pay for tickets?
Put it in a-
I thought it was here.
No, the Guinness is here.
Oh, I'm gonna join because that's Yeah. I said hello. We have a lot of activities over there. Yes.
Persuasions. I'm not gonna work today anyway, so okay. I have the Dutch class now. Oh, you have Dutch class?
It's downstairs.
But now as well, right? Yeah, but it's not Amsterdam.
Downstairs.
And there is Amsterdam downstairs too? No.
No. Yeah, this is all Amsterdam.
Oh,
No.
that's
The
amazing.
girl thought there should be books and stuff, but and another teacher, but
Dubai.
she thinks it's downstairs.
Wait, no,
Beginners
no.
in
They
Amsterdam.
say there is two rooms.
Yeah.
Amsterdam and Dubai. Amsterdam for beginners.
Yeah, but she
where
just
it's
left to go downstairs to search for the people there.
Oh, she walked into the door. It's so complicated to keep like.
Yes, this is
Yeah.
typical Dutch, yeah.
I already have like 10 different information about this.
Yeah.
Come on, it's just like. What?
No.
It's
Who-
already that
who's
complicated to
who's
figure out
the
first
first
and
this
then
time?
I don't learn the
Go
language.
back.
Well, also probably removed all of it.
Yeah, but he's not here.
Yeah. Go to HR, and then HR you find it to.
I'm really curious actually. I'm gonna be
You know what we're doing. It's not a surprise to you.
I'm gonna be very critical.
Who's watching?
As always. No, I'm really critical because mine
Really
mine
critical
didn't pass. So let's see
If
if
it
better
goes
it is than
blue?
me, right?
If the beamer goes blue, just press left or right.
So these are better. So these are better.
Settings, you can connect it to power, then it will
I'm really tired.
Uh-oh.
That's what your wife said.
They're already streaming.
Watch out, Ronald is really tired.
Now my two daughters
To
are
all of
sleeping in the
you
same room now.
in Netherlands and around the world.
Are we already live?
I wish you all a very pleasant presentation.
Children are horrible. Don't have children up here. Is this on the stream? No. I mean, I love children. Well, that's also weird. I love lucid children. That's also weird. It's complicated. Sorry.
Yeah, he's here. Didn't we have anything to say?
I said.
Bye. Yes, only in the weekend.
Ronald, kun je even wat nuttigs doen en groot bier halen of zo?
Gaan we ook drinken erbij?
Ja, dat is...
Dan ben ik echt helemaal moe.
Oh yes, dan ga je nog vervelend.
Dat ga je nog verder doen. Patrick, can you get some beer? Is that a protocol? Ja, ik doe het ook wel goed. Ik help mee, met z'n tweeën. Team effort. Crazy.
Ja, ik ga snel stay over there.
C'est bien d'aller joindre.
Wat ik vooral spannend vind is dat er iets te vieren valt. Wat is hier, wat is hier bijzonder? Ben jij?
Alright, let's start.
Is Ronald jarig?
Gentlemen.
Is dat de ik veel? Dat is een serie, hè? Ik heb geen over. Dat zijn echt 5 mensen. Ja,
Okay, let's start with a little birthday song for Ronald because it's his birthday.
Hip hip.
So after the presentations, Ronald is having.
He brought cakes.
He brought cakes, and you can all congratulate him. There was some planning collision with the Dutch courses, I'm aware. So some people might want to join there as well. We were, however, earlier with this presentation, over 3 months ago. But we might rush a little bit, but it's all up to the ones presenting. So, Nir, I think you're first.
Let's just stop Ronald from asking question. It will be over in 5 minutes. Okay, so my team was with Anita, Gabi, Marielle working from home, Francisco, Guillaume, and Alejandro, who's on a plane to Spain now. And we looked at this problem. We have a lot of visits on the homepage every week, every day. What? No, that's for the customer support. But we only have one homepage, so we know a lot about the user, and probably in the future we'll know a lot more. Maybe we can deduct some things. So why not actually do a personalized homepage and show each user what is most relevant for him at the right moment, considering all the data we know. So for example, if Xiaoyu is in Rome, where's Xiaoyu? In Rome. We'll show her a page in Chinese, considering the actual weather in Rome right now, with venues that fit the weather, and we look at availability, we look at what's relevant now, what's a good deal. Everything will be tailored to her location and all of the data points we know about her now. And that could be different for every user. Alejandro in Paris, a page in Spanish, cloudy weather, so we'll recommend places that are not outside, and you get the picture. So we went in 2 directions. We made a mock-up of how we think it's going to look. First, in the short term, and maybe just a vision about the longer term. And we made a very small demo of the first step. So first, the mock-ups. That's the version that is closest to the homepage now. So you see that the user is in London. We know the weather. So we actually personalize the page to look. You're taking a screenshot of a screenshot?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm posting it in the screenshot channel.
Cool.
I'll make
and below that, you can choose the day to actually see things tailored to the relevant day. And we dreamt about 4 data points here. First one is recommended by your friends. Assume we know some of your friends for social networks or other aspects. So we actually list your friends who visited here in that place. The second one is perfect for today's weather because it's sunny today in London, so we proposed the London Eye. Third is because we know the user is buying tickets for kids, we offer something that is good for the family, assuming he's an existing user. And the fourth one is today's best deal for you, something that is really discounted or relevant for today. So we kind of show the 4 more relevant products for the user at the right moment. And below that, we have things that he already looked at So maybe it's relevant for him. He looked at places in Amsterdam, so maybe he's planning on buying things for Amsterdam for next week. That version is closer, and then we took another attempt to change it even a bit further, and that's touching a bit about the design. So that's not so relevant for this this task, but we wanted to look at how it's going to look a bit further with the same content. And if I'll skip now to the demo, the smallest demo we did now, it's actually running from Alejandro's computer. So we didn't want Alejandro's computer is in one location, but we just passed the city ID here in the URL instead of detecting it. And we show 3 different pages according to the page, to the city and to the weather. In Barcelona it's hot. The ticketeer is holding ice cream, and we show places to do in Barcelona. In Paris, it's still an ice cream, but in Amsterdam, it's chilly. So so this woman has a scarf and coffee, and we show places, things in Amsterdam. That's the quick demo. Any questions? For which I'll reply, it's just a demo. We didn't think about that yet.
When did it go live? You guys should.
Yes?
When the full date above it, today, tomorrow, and so on, how do you want to have the somebody is looking like for in a week or 2? Or
yeah, we should find a place for that, but we saw that 50% of the orders is for today or tomorrow, so that should be the most prominent, and we should add an option to also look far ahead.
Hey, the recommended by your friends feature, where are you pulling that data from?
We don't yet, but assuming assuming he's opening an account in Tickets not by his email but by connecting
with Facebook.
Google, Facebook, and then we know his friends, and that would be one aspect point. We can find a way for that. You promised not to. The birthday question.
But this is now always tied to the weather, right? I mean, developers say the most popular things to do in Amsterdam. So.
I think we can find a lot more data points to aspect. That was just the simplest thing to do now, but I think we can. Some of it we can get from the user. Some of it we can deduct by what's most common. There's a whole AI, big data world buzzwords to mention, to use it for. Thank you. Connect. Who's now?
Who is next?
Do I need a thing?
Yeah, your adapter?
Yeah. Dat is een HWG, man. Oh.
Should be the best one. I think it's pretty good now. Let's look at that.
Music, it's your music.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
good taste, by the way.
Just to get everyone in the mood, right?
Have a good taste.
So now we got your attention, guys. We're gonna present, okay?
But what's a rainy noise? That's,
Oh my god. Again, mood. Yeah. I don't even. It's the-
That's rainy days.
How good did you find it?
White noise. One more time. Any other
Nice.
surprises?
All right.
Okay, so we're here on Monday trying to present our idea. Our idea came from marketing, but also from the acting. And we wanted to show you, basically, we wanted to add a region in between the country and the city. Then we went to the developers who were in our team. Oscar was the back-ender, and he was really helpful. He told us, yes, it's very done, it's very nice to be doing it, but we don't even have a country layer yet. So your idea is very nice, but first we need to implement the country to then implement the region. Also, because we only had like 3 days, we decided to do it this way, because then we have something to show you, and then we can actually take it from that. So we decided to start with country pages. So before, this is what it looked like. For example, if you enter Italy, for the people who have been here the longest, you know that Centaio was our mock city. So for Italy, so it's a fake city. So we decided, okay, well, now that our objectives are to bring returning customers, then we should do something like this, you know, send them to, I don't know, little known places than like, you know, Rome or something like this from Italy. So now when you enter Italy, this is what it would look like. So we have Italy as a country itself, and then all the cities underneath it, okay? Shall we?
Right. So.
So we're gonna run the demo so you can see what it looks like on desktop.
Right. So yeah, like Daniel said, it was relatively easy to put this together because we already have countries in our model. But the idea is that okay, we can basically treat countries we can treat regions, which is this new concept, in the same way as we treat countries already. It's like, okay, products are going to be inside a particular geographical space, and we can just group them right now as countries, but it can just be whatever. So yeah, if you just type now in the search bar, it might take a little while, data stuff. Then you get all these suggestions. These can easily be configured, like the amount of cities. We can determine that, okay, the more popular ones should be the ones that we show instead of all of them. Crucially, because we know that the user actually put the name of an actual place, then we put on the first result suggestion. But if there might be more relevant stuff, then it's not even on top. It's actually like under here. But yeah, so basically, in
Can you make it bigger?
yes. So yeah, for any input that it has, we now are exposing these countries as well, which yeah was something that maybe was essentially critically missing. But yeah, so now if you get to choose a country, then there will be like this country page. Now this is the demo version of it.
Yeah.
That will just show you all the products. We can organize it in nicer ways, of course.
And that's what we did. We actually organized it in a better way, and that's the next slide in our presentation. This is what it looked like if you were actually looking into Mexico, depending on obviously many things, your location, etc., and I will show that now, what's coming. So if we start from the right-hand side, I can say that all of this is generic information, so this will always be there. Why? Because everything here should change. Depending on where you are in the country, then we should show you different stuff. I always put the examples, but we go back to Spain. If I'm in Bilbao, which is north of Spain, I don't want to be shown what's in Sevilla, what's in Granada, which is basically south of Spain. I want to know what's up there. So depending on there, we're going to show the regions. Obviously, the regions you cannot miss. And obviously, what we think is the best, the most visited places around that area where you are at the moment. Okay?
So everyone close to the border would also see stuff from.
Of course, man. If you go to Belgium, you see Germany, Luxembourg, and France. Of course, that will be perfect and ideal in the future. Obviously, we can configure this because we know where the client is. So maybe we can set let's say, a range of 150 kilometers, or depending on what the customer can do, because that's something else. Can you go to the next one? So this is basically what we would base our, let's say, results in. Where the customer is, obviously the first thing, customer location, then customer history, interests, all of those things are there, obviously. And we can do a little test as well, but this is something that we wanted to do, and I think is something really nice, is allow the users to select the preferences. And obviously, depending on those preferences, then we're going to be showing them different stuff, you know? If we go up a little bit, for example, not all users will want to go to historical museums, I put them myself. But I want to go to anything else. For example, the science museums are really nice. The Moko Museum, I went and it was incredible. But I don't want to go, for example, to the Reich Museum. You see? So this is the kind of thing that we will be able to do in that page based on everything that we have from the customer. Obviously, also if we give them the chance. Okay. This is the demo from the mobile as well. We have a demo for the mobile version as well. As you can see, you will be able to enter the country and actually see it and be able to click on it, but the homepage is not loaded yet because we didn't have time to set up a mobile demo of a country page yet. Okay. So if you go to what's next, so obviously, like I told you, it's create the region pages, because that was the original idea, but we didn't get to it because obviously we didn't have enough resources, time, etc., etc. And obviously, what will this bring us? We went through this a little bit, but obviously we need more relevant content because customers come to our website and I believe we're not giving them enough content. Obviously, if we keep doing this, then we inspire them to actually book in our website a little bit more. And we make it a lot more user-friendly for them. Obviously, this is what it means. Increase sales, the customer will be a lot more engaged, and obviously, hopefully we'll have more visitors. And that means, obviously, happy customers, but obviously, last but not least, happy look. And that's what we need, you know? And that's our objective. So, any questions? Who's Luke? Yeah, please.
I really like the country page, so that you did certainly something. I'm not so much in the region. How I would do it is perhaps you can, because of course you said the problem was in Cancun, like you are in one city, we have something else nearby.
Yeah.
To focus much more on, you know, you can search for whatever city it is, including, I don't know, Den Helder or somewhere where we don't have anything. But then even if you search for Den Helder, then you will get a page of stuff around Den Helder.
Yeah, exactly.
So like not have to put in by hand the region, but make it automatically generated.
Yeah, this will happen once we have the regions installed, because we can actually link, if we actually pull this data off Google, then if you actually put Den Helder, then we know where you are and we can show you everything that's around it, you know?
Yeah, but I think that we can, you know, creating all those regions, I mean, then again, we want to, I don't know, make America East Coast or West Coast, or do it one per state, or there are so many different ways. I think that if you, rather than having hard-coded regions, you would simply look for the location the user is searching for, plus a certain diameter around it, then you already there.
Yeah.
Can I answer?
Yeah, of course.
So this is because we need the pages to add people too, so we need landing pages, because people are searching for California water parks or
Sicily or something.
Exactly. So people are searching for these regions. And if you just allow people to search on the website, it will never be findable in, our biggest traffic sources, that is Google or Bing or other search engines. So if we have these pages, we can index them for SEO, so more free traffic when people are Googling, because people still start their search in Google, right? and not on our website. So if we make it findable on our website and not external, we will never bring these users. And we need them both on SEO side, the free part, and we need them on the technical part as well.
I would create regions based on search terms, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to do and North Holland and Greater Amsterdam region, and you can have indeed many names, but it's just especially islands and all these places. No one will search for Agrigento, Italy or something, but Sicily, right? So,
Did we check if people search in our system currently on regions?
On search terms, yes. On big search we see it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Within tickets or?
On our account, yeah. I don't know the search on the website, so I think that's where I need to get my information about. But on search terms, and we are still very limited in terms of what kind of traffic is coming in. And I've seen already a couple of things in terms of regions, not a lot because our keywords do not allow it.
So that's where you would start?
Yeah.
On our own website, we see more search by country.
Yeah. Also from the back end, it's much easier to implement the countries and then add the regions to the country. That's why we took this first step. That's it.
And I think there are some cases like Mexico, for example, Riviera Maya is not an official region, right? But everyone is searching for it. And the travel agencies offer packages to Riviera Maya. So I think we should start with the ones that really are common worldwide and where we have venues that we cannot advertise on. So Riviera Maya, we have a lot of venues and we are not allowed to advertise on it. So this is something that we could bring more traffic to as well as a way to bring traffic to these new venues that we cannot advertise on.
What is a region? Is it the province? What's a region? You have in Holland you have Twente, which is not an official region, but everybody searches for it. So it's hard to define what you see as a region.
So I think that's also what Anna's saying. You should look what are people searching for. Well, start with those. If nobody's looking for Twente, then
depending on what we have, because we have that data, then we'll be able to set it up. Yeah?
But I still think the tagging part, how Get Guide does it, because they say a city is a city, but it's just a tag Amsterdam, and also have North Holland if you want it, if you don't. You can also have like several Holland, Netherlands, they can all interact. So there's no hierarchy. I think they do have a hierarchy.
You can go to Dutch course
I mean, it can be anything. It can also be activities and clouds.
That's what I'm thinking we were suggesting as well, after we have all these, and you can start with the categories really and start mixing everything.
Actually, we did actually put that on the sample page too, so one of the very bottom, So instead of showing off the category selection on, when you have a selection of products, then just have a category selection on the side, we're actually doing it in a visible way over here. So you've got architecture and archaeology, you've got museums, you've got theme parks.
As you can see, they are part of the team, yeah? So, any more questions? Or? Okay, thank you.
Can you put it back in my desk? I have to go to my...
I'll look it back. Thanks. So,
We zit in chat in YouTube. Dus als we weer doen, dan kunnen ze een grote vraag op.
Hi. Hi everyone, I'm Sitesh. So we started on Monday with the idea basically make reviews more meaningful. Right now you must have seen on the product page, we show a list of reviews and that's all. It's like an orphan child in there. So these were the people who worked on it, Jan, Micah, Ellen, Yuri, and me a little bit. So what we started with, this was the basic, just to reiterate what we talked about on Monday. So the core of the problem is 3 things. most people write reviews which is very brief or too abstract to figure out, like from one review you can't get the idea what people are talking about the product. Second is for different languages, we are missing out all the reviews in other languages because we don't support automatic translation. You can't translate manually all the reviews, so that's really hard. Third point was the general feeling of, like, if you take all the reviews for a product and aggregate them, what's the feeling you will have about the product? So these were like 3 things we wanted to do. So the idea was basically first take all the reviews and apply a bunch of things to see what works, to summarize all the reviews. Second was not just like aggregate rating, but show like distribution of rating. Do people have like 95% times 5-star rating, but some few instances, or it's like very often that product locations don't care about the customers. Third was basically allow people to use all the reviews in all the languages. So these were like the basic concepts we wanted to explore. And these were the things we did. First, we explored a bunch of machine translation services that are out there to see what works best for translation. We've used Yandex at this point. It's free. I kind of exhausted the API limit yesterday, but it's okay. We built some filtering options, so now people can filter out the reviews, what they actually want to see. A lot of people just want to see what's the worst happens in a place rather than what the nice things about it. Sorting options, maybe right now we added 2 kind of sorting options, like based on time and date, and second is rating. You want to see based on these 2 criteria. And of course, extract meaningful information from reviews. So we took all the reviews and tried to find out a way where we can systematically generate some tags to explain what the aggregate means, and of course make it more pretty. So this is the transformation we did. This is the before part, like this was a list, and it doesn't look that good. But that's the part. So if you see the sections we added, the first section shows you aggregate rating and the distribution of the ratings that are there now. Second section, you can see those are all the tags we try to generate by systematically approaching it and see what works. So what we do is basically we take all the reviews and try to extract a particular kind of phrase attached to them. So when you click it, you can find all the reviews that convey that kind of sentiment. Next is basically filtering options. So you can click any from 1 to 5, any number of items, and you can see all the reviews in that category. And finally, there is a sorting option where you can sort things by date or rating. 2 options right now. We can obviously add later on relevance and other things. And one other thing you can see from this to this, basically now we are using all the translations. So the translation you see is automatically translated in real time right now. So when people, if user opens in their language X, it can be one of the 8 languages we support, English, German, or the rest of the 6. We'll automatically translate whatever language the review is in and show it in their native language. So those are the things we did. We can do a demo. Of course, we do real things. So, all right, so this was, we took like 3 cases just to get a good sample set. We took an Italian heavy review product, we took a German heavy review product, and Dutch heavy review product, just to get the idea that all languages work actually pretty okay. So if we go down, yeah, so this is how it works. It shows the basic reviews. This is the distribution. If you hover, it will say how many people actually do this. Now you can see these are the tags. This will be different for each of the venues if you go through them. So these are like dynamically generated. So a lot of people mentioned that there's no waiting time, this museum island. I'm sorry?
Can you zoom in?
Zoom? Yeah. And
what generates this?
And this is Efteling we took, and a lot of people convey this kind of sentiment, fun day, beautiful park, Efteling. So let's just see how it works. Obviously translation, some person left a review in French, so I'm using in English, so I'm translating everything from French to English, Italian to English. Some things don't make sense, of course, it's machine translation. But it's still, I guess, generally it's pretty good. Helpful, friendly, and competent, all these things. All right, so some other options we have. So now we have tagged all the reviews with a particular kind of phrase that we extracted. So if you click it, you can find all the reviews which convey this kind of information. It might take a little bit, it's a real-time translation. So you can see that wonderful experience was some sort of mentioned in this one, then this one, and you can read all the reviews. Right now it might be very basic, it's basically phrase extraction, but later on we can do much more with it to make it more relevant. So that's one way. You can see how many people rate 5 stars. Takes a little bit time. So all these people rated 5 stars. Basically, it combines all of the things you do here. So all the people who mentioned wonderful and rated 5 stars, that's what you're seeing. If you remove it, it will just see all the 5-star things. So these are all the 5-star rating reviews. Obviously, you can sort with it. So this is rating. Let's see what's the worst rating that happens. Yeah. So if you see this, like, so now these are all the rating by, now they're sorted by rating, so little interest, whatever that happens. So that's one thing. So right now I'm using English, so just to show that it actually works in all the languages, let's try. So now we are going to see the Dutch version. So now all reviews basically should translate from whatever language they were left in to Netherlands. Oh, sorry, my automatic translation. Yeah. Yeah. So now everything. I don't know. I don't speak Dutch, but maybe it makes sense.
Just go there.
Yeah. So this is pretty ready, I guess. So that's what we did. I don't know. So I think, yeah.
I have a question. The aggregated score is fine?
Which one? The star rating?
Yeah,
so we had this like from before. We kind of do like the either half star or full star. So if the rating is like 4.95, it will be rounded to 5. If it's so, that's the star rating. So, but you can get the distribution now. Yeah.
Some reviews are like 5 stars, but because people are happy about the venue, but they talk badly about ticket service.
Yeah.
So how would you remove them? Remove it, because of course
we won't remove it. That's what I was just like talking about earlier this week. Also, it seems like we do filtering of reviews. We don't make everything public. I don't agree with that idea. We should never filter this thing out. Like anything that's left, we should publish it. If we are going to filter, we should let public know when they are leaving review that we follow this kind of criteria to filter out this. So I don't think that's a good idea.
Currently, what we don't filter out on that. There is a triage document that's in Confluence.
Yeah.
That's actually used to. We do filter out things that reviews that don't say anything, or that say or do some commercial for Viagra. But also negative reviews we do post. But the comment from CITES was indeed publish that document so that people know how we do that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Do we post negative review about the venue or negative review about tickets?
The difficulty is that people, you get mixed things. We can ask to only review tickets, but they will review the experience, or at least a lot of people will.
It's often mixed, of course, but there are also some web shops that don't really filter that, and then you get like 5 stars. I got it the next day, and I'm like, okay, no, this is not helping me at all. So you really want to try to be as close to the product as possible, but for us, of course, it's part of the experience. So
yeah, of course, but depending on how Google go through this, we had the problem with TripAdvisor. You go on that, you write tickets reviews on Google, and you see tickets as a scam. Like this is one of the first links. So depending on what's going on with this, we could have like also a bad SEO, or bad reviews.
So how I would like to see it happen is basically, right now we are sorting these things, right? I would rather rank these reviews in terms of relevance, that people can sort based on relevance, but we should not like just monitor it or filter it out, just sort them if people want to see relevant things. So going further, there are a lot of things we can do. We can ask other people who are reading reviews to vote it, did they find it useful or not, and collect the feedback, and based on optimize our algorithms to increase the sorting criteria. And there are a lot of ideas I think Muhammad was also talking about, like when we started planning. So we can incorporate a lot of these things, but this is the base version.
So we're doing a TicketAdvisor.
I'm sorry?
We are doing like TicketAdvisor, like TripAdvisor. This is their main thing.
Review is like your mode. Like most e-commerce sites have reviews as the main key criteria. It's like Bill's network. So
that is yes and no. TripAdvisor has a large strategic problem that people see them as a review site, and they actually want to sell things, but people only come there to read the review and then they buy somewhere else. That's a big problem for them. So we rather also sell stuff.
Yeah. And the reviews on TripAdvisor are not based on a purchase. That's what's interesting with ours is everyone who reviews actually bought the ticket from us. And that's somewhat unique. TripAdvisor, anyone can review it, and that's why their reviews can be garbage.
So that's why we. Do you have a question?
Yeah, so can you maybe tell a little bit shortly about how you get these tags?
Right. So. Good segue. It's a good segue. So I'll just let Yuri. Yuri did a lot of n-gram analysis, so she will just walk you through it.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Sitesh, in the meantime, can I ask another question?
Sure.
You've translated based on the language that
user chooses.
Or that the user of the version of our site that they are using now. But one could potentially also show those reviews in, for example, Russian.
Yeah,
we translate auto-translate.
Yeah. So it's totally ready. So right now I took like these 3 venues and translated in all the 8 languages, so we can work with that data set. But as we add language, that should not be a problem.
Or even languages we don't support.
That's totally possible. Yeah.
That's a very good question. So, we took data for 3 products. Basically, it was the Efteling, some museums in Berlin, and Naples on the ground, whatever that is. I don't know. Sorry.
Naples on the ground.
Yeah, I hope so. So, each product had around 200 reviews. So it is actually not that much. And I only consider the reviews translated into English, just to make things easier. I started with a simple approach, which is like taking the most popular n-grams, which is basically sequences of n words. It sounds easy, but actually it involves a lot of pre-processing of the text. Because, for example, a very common step is to remove some words that are highly repeated, like I, you, we, whatever. No, not. But many times our reviews have no waiting time, no cues. So we actually want to also capture that. So that was one of the problems we had. So actually we had to curate that list of words that we were discarding. So and basically we did the analysis on the n-grams. Okay, I will come back probably later. So for example, for the Efteling, we consider the 2 n-grams, the trigrams, and the tetragrams. And for example, these we were scoring the popularity. Right now, it's just the number of times that they appear in the reviews. And well, together with the content team, we decided on which one to show. But as you can see, the larger the n, was like the 2, 3, or 4, the popularity decreases, of course. And for example, we noticed that already with two words, we were already getting some stuff like always fun, friendly staff, long time, well maintained. So it gives you more or less of an idea. Well, with 3, you actually start getting more things, like everything well arranged, perfectly via phone, clean and well maintained, and so on. But as you can see, the popularity is like 2, 1, so that's why we didn't take it in this case. But exactly. But this is interesting. So with 200 reviews, you start getting these things.
It's always like, because also there's a verb involved. Like great Efteling app doesn't say anything. It's just with fun and.
Yeah, actually that would be our next step. Like right now we are just taking like sequences of words that appear together, right? But yeah, there are many steps that we could consider. But for example, just for fun, I try also Sagrada Familia, because Sagrada Familia has many reviews. And for example, here is what Sagrada Familia, what we get from there. So for example, we get, for example, the trigrams, we get well worth visit, well, La Sagrada Familia, must see Barcelona, visit Sagrada Familia, stained glass windows somehow. So, for example, and this already popularity, it increases more. So it is also, it's kind of an insight that, of course, depending on how many reviews we have, also this is maybe use a bigram or trigram or tetragram. But actually, there are also smarter algorithms to do this. Also, while doing this project, I researched a few of them, and I found one that is called TextRank. So I don't know. I have many ideas that I would like to test. So,
like machine learning, right?
Yes.
could we bootstrap our data with TripAdvisor's data? Because they already did this for all the venues. And once I also just started looking, what are the negative things they say about a venue, right? So you can filter the negative, and then you also get these diagrams, for instance. So then, for instance, it says bad audio guide, and it's very interesting for us to say, okay, we need, we can maybe replace that and develop an audio guide for them because they complain about it, and vice versa. So yeah, could be also just bootstrap with external data sets, maybe.
Yeah, there are many possibilities here.
Still.
Yes. Yeah, of course, part of speech is also important, and so on. So, but this was just a preliminary, very first attempt.
Cool. Nice. Cool. Okay. Great, live demo. Any questions? Or more questions? Yes.
What would block you putting this live immediately?
I think we mostly built to go live, so there are a couple of things about like translation has to like scale because we are limited by API calls and something, so that's only scalable part. Otherwise, we are good to go. Maybe 1 or 2 days will work, and we can take it live, the basic version. Yeah.
And I add a jQuery to the front end. One like
and that is including this, or mainly also the filtering?
Yeah, so this part was like a little bit, we almost made it, but to make it more systematic, so a lot of edge cases and stuff like that, we will have to take care of that once we have that, I think.
It's not included in the 1 or 2 days?
No, we did this, but the point is like the whole pipeline is not working.
Yeah, but getting it live, I mean.
Yeah, this can go live.
Production
in 2 days probably, yeah.
Can we cache the results of this translation?
Yeah.
So that's the plan. So
can you repeat the question for the screen?
Okay. The question was, can we cache the translations, right? So that's the plan. Like right now, I'm doing real time, but for these 3 venues, I took all the reviews we have and translated all of the reviews in all the 8 languages we support, so we can analyze it. But I can see like later on what we can do is like a lot of intelligent things. When people open a particular language, we do a translation and save it. So next time it's like cached. So of course that's an option.
Yeah.
There are a lot of tweaks I also have in mind. So if we take it live, we'll do it. Yeah.
You said that we would have to pay for the API connection because of the number of requests.
Yeah. It's a payday. For this, I use Yandex API right now, but there are a lot of Google, AWS.
Yeah, Google Translate, I think we can get that for free. And
There's a limit. Yeah, it's a limited use. So like 1 million character is free, then it costs some money, like $10 per million requests. So
We're starting the conversation, so it's
not requests, characters, 1 million characters.
If you subscribe to the bad reviews channel, that also uses the Yandex translation.
Reviews bad, that's also uses.
Yeah.
I remember.
Cool.
Does everyone know that, by the way? It's a good one that you mentioned. It was created in another Creative Week or Crazy Days. There are 2 Slack channels, good reviews and bad reviews. It's actually, doing what it says, and you can subscribe to it and, or get a positive feeling about tickets, or
Cool.
All right. Actually, one thing for I will talk to Neil and Daniel, but the feedback we got on previous Crazy Days was, okay, what happens next? And that was also the reason why we said, okay, we're going to do this on the Wednesday and the Thursday. So on the Friday, there will actually be a session tomorrow at 11 o'clock with Patrick Toolen to talk about the roadmap and how does this fit in the roadmap, and or is it maybe too far-fetched or not, or does it only take 2 days, and where can we plan it in? So that will be tomorrow at 11 o'clock. A bit up to you if that's only you, Sitesh, or the team, and same for the other teams. And then we should hear by the end of tomorrow what the plans are, I think. So for now, thanks. If there's any feedback on how we now organize this or how we should organize it, unfortunately Oscar is not here to bring this energy to the table. But please send your feedback to him and to me, and also to Maarten Wierda, who also organized but was on holiday this week. So, but next time.
What are the prices? Are the prices? Like how are the bodies?
I hear feedback already. So we should have prizes.
What's the incentive, right?
You can keep your job.
I think we're done, so it's up to Ronald to provide us cakes.
Well, the winner of the team gets something. No,
Gets something.
Get your dirty.
That's mine.
Thank you. Nice.